بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم. Surah Yasin, verse 13. وَاضْرِبَ لَهُمْ مَثَلًا أَصْحَابَ الْقَرْيَةِ. And a similitude is placed forth for them of the companions, the Ashab al-Qarya of a village. Previously we looked at what a mathal is and the 5 or 6 reasons for a mathal, and we discussed briefly the Ashab of this Qarya. This Qarya, this village, we came to the understanding that it is a village in Turkey known as Antioch, and we placed the scene in Surah Yasin as about 600 years after Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. And that's important to remember when reading this Quran, to understand the context and understand who is being spoken to, who is speaking, and what they are exactly speaking about. We then looked at examples of a mathal in the Quran, and it's important to understand these ideas before just going out and saying halal, haram, this is legal, this is forbidden. You have to have a firm grounding of at least the tools needed in the Quran. And a subject you study, in fact, is ulumul Quran, the sciences of the Quran. And a lot of your native language is important there, because you need to know the ideas of prolixity, verbosity, synecdoches, the mantuk, what is uttered, the mafhum, the implied, what is khas, specific, what is am, general, what is mutlaq, restricted or absolute, and muqayyad, restricted, abrogation. All these things need to be understood, and inshallah we'll make that part of this course, because the point of this is to empower everyone here with the basic tools needed to understand and traverse the Quran, and also to appreciate it and make it part of our lives and in our homes. Okay, so the parable is set forth to the mushrikeen of Makkah, taking them back 600 years ago. إِذْ جَاءَهَا الْمُرْسَلُونَ, that's verse 14. When came to them, literally, mursalun, messengers. How many messengers came? Who were these messengers? Who sent these messengers? And to whom were they sent? A parable is placed forth to the mushrikeen of Makkah about messengers that came to the village of Antioch, sent to the pharaoh of that town, who was a tyrant and an idol worshipper. And we mentioned why idol worshipping is ridiculous and why it is shunned. It's because you are taking dust, forming a statue, and then the dust, which should have been your servant, you become its servant. It's a waste of life. And therefore the prophets came to take people out of this darkness of wasting their life and giving them purpose and meaning. So this occurred when Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam was just about to be taken up into the heavens, and he sent forth 2 messengers. So they are not messengers, they are messengers of a Nabi, of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. And he sends the 2 of them to this village. إِذْ أَرْسَلْنَا إِلَيْهِمُ اثْنَيْنِ فَكَذَّبُوهُمَا. He sent 2 ithnain, and they rejected them completely. Their names, Sadiq and Saduq, and this is found in the old Tafsirs of Al-Qurtubi and Fakhr Razi and so forth and so on. So the king summoned them, didn't want to even listen to what they had to say. It's raining very hard here, so I hope I'm clear enough with the sound. Alhamdulillah. So the messengers are sent to them, and they shun them and they imprison them, in fact. They torture them and imprison them. فَعَزَّزْنَا بِثَالِث, and Allah empowers them with a third, a thalith, who Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam dispatches, and his name is Sham'un. He enters the town unnoticed, and he befriends the king's entourage and lots of companions of the king and servants of the king, until they consider what he has to say, and news starts to spread about this man who is talking some sense to them and is appealing to them. So what we said the last time, in summary, is that 2 messengers came, they were rejected. Allah Ta'ala still did not punish this town, this village. He sent a third, It's a positive lesson for us here that Allah Ta'ala will never neglect anybody. He will guide. Even this insignificant tiny village is not neglected. It is a sign of hope that people will receive reminders. And if they shun, they will receive another reminder. As long as the sun has not set in its opposite direction and risen in its opposite direction, the door of hope and tawbah is open. We should never shut this door and never allow others to shut it for us and not to shut it upon ourselves. Verse 15. فَقَالُوا إِنَّا إِلَيْكُمْ مُرْسَلُونَ. We are unto you messengers. قالوا, they said, ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا. How can you possibly be messengers when you are like us? You are human. If you are human like us, why don't we receive wahi, revelation? You can't be. Messengers must be angelic and something different. And the verse goes on, وَمَا أَنزَلَ الرَّحْمَنُ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. That the most merciful, the Creator, infused with rahmah. Our Creator is one of intense mercy and compassion. And this mercy is not sent to them except illa takdibun. They reject it and are not interested in it at all. قالوا, these messengers say, رَبُّنَا, that our Lord, يَعْلَمُ, He knows, inna ilaykum, that we are unto you, lamursalun, messengers. And the lam, lamursalun, indicates tawqeed, emphasis. This lam, when you find lamursalun, it indicates that those being spoken to are 90% of the time going to reject what you are saying. So the structure has a lam of emphasis here, just to indicate, if you know these tools, you know who's being spoken to. A rejecter, someone who might listen, someone who's definitely going to listen. But this lam indicates they're definitely not interested. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينُ. Very important. But we, the messengers are saying, we are not here to force you. We are just here to convey. That's it. That's our duty. And that's where we need to come in as Muslims today. We are not messengers. Okay. So what is our duty then? Are we to force people, to guide people gently? How many times do we remind people? Do we remind ourselves? Because the messengers are saying here, we are nothing but people conveying a message. Illa al-balagh, we are here to make tabligh, to remind you, and that's it. We are not here to coerce you and force you. And we need to seriously think about this. Are we on their level, or are we still trying to understand him? And we'll discuss nubuwah as we go along, prophethood. قَالُوا رَبُّنَا يَعْلَمُ إِنَّا إِلَيْكُمْ لَمُرْسَلُونَ. They said to the people of the town, verily we are unto you messengers sent by Isa alayhi salam, who was sent by Allah Ta'ala. And this is what we imply from the context here. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينُ. And our duty is only to convey clearly this message. And this is something common throughout the Quran and shared amongst all the prophets, is that they do not do this for worldly gains, to amass the dunya and so forth. They are genuine in what they are ordered to do. That's important here. They're only conveying. The second is that they consistently say, each and every one of them said it, and that is, we seek no ajr, no reward. We are merely warners. Not a single person can, after them, can then force people to accept their deen, because prophets did not come to force anybody. All we have to do is to convey this message which has been sent before us, and as the final deen to the human race, we need to be representatives of that beauty and that rahmah, and keep the gates of mercy and hope open. Then happiness will be ours and yours. This is what they are telling them. If you accept what we are saying, you will attain eternal bliss in the life to come. And if you do not respond, then you will soon know the consequences of your own actions. As we mentioned earlier, they shackled themselves. فِي أَعْنَاقِهِمْ أَغْلَالٌ. They shackled their necks, from their necks to their chins. So they could not look down. It was shackled upwards. They could not bend it down in humility. And that's the image we found earlier on. I think that's sufficient for this session. We'll continue with verse 18 in our next session, inshallah. Sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa barik wa sallim. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.